2020. Oh my gosh. This is so exciting. Like, I was telling people that my son's running around yelling script. I was telling people, I said, oh, 100 people. Yeah, we'll get 100 people, have eight speakers. We're at over 50 speakers, 300 and something, 90 something people have registered for this conference. We have people from Paris, New Zealand, all over the world tuning in this year because of the virtual. COVID-19 was not going to slow me down. And if anyone knows me, I don't slow down for nothing, because you get one life. And you can do your one-on-one interactions, right? And you can make your little niche in the world to change the world in a macrosystemic way. And that is the way I live my life. So, live your best life. And so this is exciting that we have been blessed and God has made this happen for us. And so welcome. Our theme this year is community collaboration. And what a fitting theme that we planned. We planned our conference a year in advance. So we came up with that in like September? And decided that it would be that, and it is just the most fitting thing. Last night, Dr. Brashear kicked off our script conference with talking about, community unrest and how we need to come together in this time, and about everything that's going on. And it just fit so well in this time of I don't want to say turmoil, but a time of change. Right? But we have to work together as a community to make this go forward. And so we have had so many people sponsor us this year. Better LA this year is so wonderful, because all the things that we have and our sponsors have given us, and books and stuff. We now have a bookstore. So you can get all the resources now on Amazon.com. And Gabby and Christina will be sending that out, which is amazing. So all the people who have been part of this, who have resources for you, you can now get those things. It's on Dr. Deborah's Things and More. There's a bookstore just for script called Script Resources that you can get. And so I just want to thank them, and anyone who wants to add resources, who's a part of our script family. You're all here. You're a part of our family now. I learned that from Bill Murray. Once you're a part once, I never let you go. Jim McDonnell knows that. I have asked him many a times to come back, because I won't let go. But please tell me, you'll get up there and we can do that. So with that said, later on we'll talk about how the rest of the day goes, but I'd love to let the Grandmaster, Dr. Akil Brashear, open us up and say why in the world we're here from his perspective, because he can sum it up better than I can ever. He has a gift for words. So, Dr. Brashear?
No, Deborah, I'm a mere reflection of yourself, Dr. Warner, okay? No, good to see everybody. Good to see you back for another year. I'm not going to talk long. Hopefully I'll talk strong. Look, I would use the analogy of a platter. A platter that has a sampler platter that has so many samples on it. And if you never partake of everything that's on that platter, you'll never know what you like. I look at the conference the same way. There's so much to offer here. We don't know, and we didn't try to meet everybody's needs. The whole concept of the conference was to put a toolbox together and have tools in there, and hopefully the participants will extrapolate from those tools what they need to work through their trauma, to work through the people they're touching, etc. So the same ideal of the conference. There's an old analogy that says, if you stay here, you can't go anywhere. And that's so true. So use the conference as that platform to hopefully refine yourself, refine your life, and just create a better narrative in terms of how to navigate what we call the trauma of life, because that's what this life is. It's full of trauma, it's full of pain, but it's also full of joy. And the more tools, the more blueprints that we can put together to navigate that, the better we're going to be. So with that said, again, I salute all of you. We're humbled to have you at the conference. Dr. Warner has done an outstanding job, as always, taking the lead here. So let's make this a fun day on purpose. I'll leave it back to you, Sister Deborah.
A fun day on purpose, man. Getting out of bed's fun. Like,
It is.
And Akil doesn't like it when I dote on him, but I'm going to say later on our last day, Akil's going to get this wonderful award for all of his work. And I want to keep it because it's so pretty, right? But this is for all the work and him always being my partner in crime in this and script. And, it's well deserving. It's a lifetime of achievement, for this, and only one person has got it, and that's Chief Arcos. So he's the second recipient of that award.
Honored, Dr. Warner. Honored. Always a pleasure working with you on so many things too. How many things have we worked on? We'll leave it at.
I stopped counting. It's we went over Europe together. Like, it's been a long time, right?
Yeah. Yes. So we'll leave that alone.
So it's such an honor. And with that, and since we're on a message of hope and community, I'm going to turn this over to our wonderful retired sheriff to give us the welcoming message.
Well, thank you very, very much, and welcome to everybody who's on from so many different places around the world. And I truly appreciate you having me participate as a speaker to kick off for what I know will be a great conference. And I'm humbled to be included with so many great speakers, but more importantly, with heroes from our communities, each in their own way, working hard to make things better for other people. We're operating today in a virtual environment due to the COVID-19 pandemic. When this conference was first planned, that consideration wasn't even a factor. But we adapt to whatever comes our way. That's how we continue to survive. These are strange times indeed, in so many different ways. We find ourselves in an election year, in a country divided like we've never seen in our lifetimes. It's difficult to even talk about issues with someone who may have a different perspective. We're so very polarized today. We're also living through a pandemic with over 155,000 deaths reported in the United States, and it's still far from over. Thank you for doing your part in trying to make this a better situation. And crime rates, particularly homicides, are rising dramatically in many of our major cities. We've seen months of protests and in some cases, violent unrest in many of our cities. Many lives have been changed and unfortunately ruined as a result. So here in 2020, in the middle of a public safety crisis, a public health crisis, and a crisis of confidence in all of our institutions, the credibility of and confidence in our politicians, police, media, educational system, healthcare system, church, military, and literally every one of the systems that we rely on for our way of life are under attack. We all have our own perspective on why and what should be done. It's important that we come together and give great thought on how to fix our nation's distress. Unfortunately, opinions and beliefs are too often formed based on a tweet, a headline, or a rumor. Many are forming their beliefs with very little information and at times false information. In a time where information has never been so readily available, we as a society are satisfying ourselves with a minimal examination of the facts. Regardless of party affiliation, demographics, or even country, this has become the norm. It has become how the world operates today. This is a time of great uncertainty, and for all of us, great anxiety. The future seems less predictable today than it was just a few short months ago. The things in life that provided us with a sense of stability no longer seem so sure. We all play life roles and see the world and everything that happens through that lens. It's been said that where you stand depends on where you sit. We all have different worldviews based on our own experiences, and experiences, as we know, is a tough teacher. The more roles that we play over the course of our lives, the broader our perspective becomes. We also have the benefit of having survived through some very challenging times and know that we have the power and the spirit to be able to do it again, and maybe more importantly, to help others manage their crisis and eventually be able to regain their perspective. It's very hard, and no one knows that better than so many of you. My own role in life is through the lens of having been a police officer for the past 4 decades. So please bear with me as I share some concerns looking through my own lens. To hear the calls for defunding or dismantling police agencies is like a kick in the gut. The vast majority of cops, like every other profession, are people from our communities. They're tasked with doing a job that's needed by society, but they must do their job often without the training, experience, or resources that would be very helpful in dealing with some of the bleakest moments that human experience has to offer. The police may not always be the best agency to respond to the crisis at hand, but at 3 a.m., there's simply no one else to call. So they do respond, and they do the best they can with the tools they have. In the vast majority of cases, they do the job as well as anyone could hope for. Some cases, we aren't as fortunate. Those are generally the ones we hear about. We all need to work together to see how to do a better job of responding to the complex needs of the public that we're privileged to serve. The role of police in America has morphed over time, as I know have all of your jobs. Police officers used to be the guardians of the public, but now they must do much more than that. When there's a school shooting, a violent crime in progress, or any situation where the police officer has to put themselves in the line of fire to protect others, we need someone who instinctively does what is required, even when it demands that they sacrifice their lives so that others may live. That combination of requirements for the position make it fairly unique in our society. The challenge of recruiting the best candidates to meet that challenge, as you can imagine, is not an easy one. So when we talk about replacement, replace them with what? And that's a very difficult question. To be fair, police took on way too much. Counterterrorism, homelessness, mental health. We now issue Narcan for opioid overdoses, cybercrime, human trafficking, drug and alcohol abuse, and domestic violence, on top of being understaffed to do the basic jobs of crime prevention and control and order maintenance. But yet we move forward. When you look at the cop to population ratio, how many cops are out there, it differs depending on where you are in the country. You look at New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston, there's about 4 to 4.5 cops per 1,000 population. Here on the West Coast, we're much leaner. LAPD has about 2.5 cops per 1,000. The city of Long Beach, where all of these three where I'm most familiar, have under 2. And the LA County Sheriff's Department, with responsibilities for the jails, the courts, the colleges, the hospitals, search and rescue, the parks, in addition to the normal duties we think of for a police agency, have less than 1. And so extremely lean, and more is being added. No one else responds 24/7. The police as a profession have become the subject of our society's frustration, anger, and desperation. It's interesting to someone who spent the last 40 years of my life engaged in an imperfect undertaking that by the very nature of what we do, it is not set up for success at any level. No one calls the police when things are going well. It's only when someone's not able to handle the situation in which they find themselves that they dial 911. We most often only get to meet and interact with people when things are stressful, often fueled by alcohol and drugs or mental illness. Use of force is something that we're most frequently criticized for, and 7 out of 10 uses of force occur when dealing with someone who's in one of those conditions. Attempts at de-escalation, while critical in every case, are often challenging in these cases. Crime rates were at 50-year lows at the beginning of this year, and we've all played a role in that achievement. Homicides were down 75% from where they were in the early 90s, and we all did that by working closely together. I say all of that to provide a backdrop. We all have a lot on our plates as individuals, families, and as a society. The road ahead will be a difficult one. Yet we've been down these tough roads before, and we'll be able to get through today's challenges as well. The path will be more manageable if we don't try and go it alone. What we're really talking about here is leadership. Times of crisis create opportunities for good people to stretch beyond what they thought their role in life was and to achieve things they never thought possible. History is full of such examples. To paraphrase what many others have noted in the past, there are no extraordinary people or people who were born great. There are only extraordinary circumstances where ordinary people are given the opportunity to respond in an extraordinary manner by rising to the occasion. The nature of our situation in society today makes it clear that we need to work across professions to meet the challenges we face. We may not be able to meet the needs of our communities alone, but we can change the tide together. You're already making a big difference. You've shown your commitment to helping others throughout your life. We're living in a pivotal moment in our nation's history, and we have the power to impact the direction we take. Let's not let that opportunity pass us by. And today, as we talked about earlier, there is no more appropriate title or theme for this conference than community collaboration. And I think there's an opportunity for us to take the current situations as we see them, be able to give our perspective and be able to work together to make this a better world for all of us. So thank you. Thank you for what you do every day. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you this morning.
Oh, that was awesome.
You. Excellent.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Like, uplifting gives you the warm fuzzies, but I loved how you connected who you were to that, you know, and especially in this time where people are looking at the police, just absolutely amazing, you know. And in today's climate, you know, I was so proud to have you here and to have that representation and have Captain Young here and everything, because it shows how we're all coming together to see, you know, how we can make a difference in our world. You know, we can all do our part. And that's what all this is about. So that was just a perfect welcome and opener to get us going down this path, right?